now?
You didn't change your apron.
No, where is it?
I just brought it over. It's on the table, sir.
Where is it? That's not my apron. Where's my apron?
On the table, sir.
Tell me when you're ready, Frick.
It's are you ready?
I'm ready. Hey, no.
Are we live, right?
They can hear us. And just a second. Video is on. Joseph is the first hello.
Joseph Munch from...
Yeah, and Daniel, our regulars.
Joseph. Hold on, folks. I have to have the right attire. As you know, welcome to our 20th.
You don't have your headset on. We can't hear you.
Now can I say it? Welcome to our 20th live YouTube workshop. Welcome to spring. We're going to do one of these every weekend that we possibly can until things calm down. As you know, our purpose in doing these, besides entertaining you, is to raise money for our Purple Heart Project. So that's why I had to have my right apron on. We're going to introduce the Purple Heart Project a little bit later. We've got a special guest. He's typically only on radio, so he's in hair and makeup for at least another hour, getting himself ready for TV. Yeah, you'll enjoy hearing from him. I thought about this the other night. I said, why am I the one that's always explaining what this Purple Heart is? Let's have one of the guys that have actually been here, benefit from it, tell you what it's about. So you guys that are donating so generously, have an opportunity to connect with him. So tonight's episode, we're going to build this desk. We're calling it a bed desk. That doesn't go together well. And this bed desk is for Angie. So I'll give you a quick introduction. Ken Anthony works here with us. He has for the last year and a bit. He's great. He can do just about everything in the shop. And Ken introduced me to his cousin, Angie. Angie is confined to her bed. She's been sick with an illness for most of her life. But she's going to get better, and when she does, she's coming to work in the shop. And just by chance, he told her about one of these live workshops, and her sister, who takes care of her, is her full-time caregiver, said, well, we'll turn it on for a few minutes and watch. So they turned it on, and 5 minutes later, Lynn went to shut it off, and Angie said, no. She watched the whole thing, all 2 hours, and then she watched it again the next day, and now she's our most... We can tell how many times people log on, and is she not number one? She's number one. Way to go, Angie. So when I went out to meet her finally, I noticed that she watches in her, what do they call that thing? iPad, and it's laying there. She's confined to the bed. And so she's having to look down all the time. And I said, she needs a desk, something that we can put the iPad on. So we did a little prototype, and this is what we have come up with. And this is what we're going to make tonight. Now, it's going to be made out of pine. We need it to be light so she can maneuver it, manage it. Of course, it needs to be dovetailed. And I thought we'd be nice to have a little drawer in there. So we're going to do a little drawer, and we're going to have that drawer side hung. That's not something we've done before. Side hung means there'll be strips that are attached to the insides there, and there'll be grooves cut on the sides of the drawer that it'll slide on. And I don't think I've ever done drawers that way, so that'll be new. That's what we're going to do. Now, at the end of the night, oh, and by the way, so what we ask you to do, or what we give you the opportunity to do, is to participate in our Purple Heart Project. So it's expensive. We bring 36 combat wounded vets in each year from all over the United States, Canada, Australia, England. The majority, 95%, come from the U.S. We don't care where they come from. We just want to help them. And we cover their airfare, their hotel, their meals, and we send each vet, we've actually had 3 females, home with, now it's going to be about $3,200 worth of tools. Some are donated. but it's a big undertaking. So you get to participate by making a donation to the Purple Heart Project through this, through our website, RobCosman.com. There's a special section in there under PHP. It's on the toolbar on the far left. Drop down and you'll see how can I help, and there's various choices there. However, to show our thanks, at the end of the night, we have a draw, and we're going to give something away. So tonight, we're going to give away a medium tenon saw with a resin-impregnated maple handle. It's fresh. I finished it about 3 minutes ago. And you don't have to donate in order to be in the draw. You just have to let us know that you want to be. How are they doing that, Frick?
So I'm gonna post a link, and it's just a simple form. 3 quick questions. They just fill it out, and that's it.
And that'll put them on.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in the.
At the end of the
chat right
night,
now.
we'll do a draw, and somebody will be lucky enough to get that medium tenon saw. So I'll keep it somewhere front and center so that you can be constantly aware of it. I have no front and center. I'm jammed up. I'm out of space. Well, in that case, it'll go over here. Any other? Oh, yes. So the other thing we're going to do tonight, by the way, these are all family here, so don't think we're having this huge meeting. This is Luke. This is my daughter, Kenzie, child number 6. Kenzie is a dental hygienist. This is her boyfriend, Luke. What do you do anyway, Luke?
Can they hear me?
No, they can't hear you. That was Bo sitting there. He's child number 8. This is my beautiful wife, Kim. You want to give me a kiss for good luck tonight, honey? Come on.
Stop it.
Guess we're not going anywhere there. And there, who are you? Who are you? Oh, she sleeps in my bed all the time. This is Chloe. She's our youngest, number 10. And then Megan is over here, manning the computer, and Frick's behind over there. And Jake's behind the camera. And I'm here. So now you know everybody. Oh, yeah, here. Take you over here. We have freedom now because we're no longer tethered. So we did a little spring cleaning, and we found a whole bunch of saws that have cosmetic flaws. I'll show you what I mean. This one, the engraving was put on the wrong side. So it should be over here. And because of that, it's partially hidden by the handle. So we can't sell it as a first. And they all have various little flaws like that. I don't think there is any flaw in that one. Cleaned them all up, made them like new. Might be, I think this one has...
No, the other one.
This one has some staining on the metal. But we're discounting them at 21% this March 21st. So if you're interested, tell them, Jake, how to buy it.
On our saw page.
Can they hear you?
Can they?
Yep.
On our saw page, on our just our saw page, the regular one, if you scroll down beyond all of the regular saws, you will see a second listing for Robb Cosman's Professional, and then it will be either a Dovetail, Joinery Crosscut, Bench Crosscut, or large tenon, and it says seconds. And you'll notice that the price is significantly lower than the rest.
Okay.
Limited quantity,
Yeah.
and you don't get to pick. You buy one of those, and we'll send you one of them.
Just so that you know, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 Dovetail. Four Dovetail.
No Joinery Crosscut?
One Joinery bench crosscut. 1 medium tenon and 1 full-size tenon. But there's a couple else I didn't get done. So there's 1, 2, 3 Joinery crosscuts, 2 more Dovetail, 1 more full-size tenon. So, spend away. All right. We ready to go?
Yep.
What's our pop? We're waiting until the numbers are up to bring on our special guest and do the introduction. 282. So what's our magic number? We're going to go 400.
400.
So when we fit 400, we'll bring Jeff on. So we're going to make this out of pine. And Jake, let's go out here. This is awesome. We can walk around. Don't trip on this pipe. So this is our supply. Last time we went up to Mel's in Ontario and brought back a bunch of wood. This is what we brought back. In case you're interested, this is what did he call it? AAA bird's eye. Come close. Come close. Now, if you hone in on that real close, even that surface is rough. That is bird's eye that is absolutely polluted. This piece is actually a little bit easier to see. Get some English walnut to your left. Osage orange here. We got a log that we're going to cut up. We'll do that as a video someday. That log is half English walnut, half Claro walnut, where they've grafted it in. And this came off. This was probably, this was rotary cut veneer, but they can only go down so far. So we'll salvage something out of that. That's some more Osage orange. That's torrefied fiddleback maple. You can see the figure on the side. Really shows out here on the edge. Some figured white oak. Got some catalogs, quite a bit of catalogs. Got some mahogany in there. That's what we make our what do we make out of that, Jake? Kerfex 10 handles.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
I said yeah.
Yeah. And that's more bird's eye torrefied maple. So I'm just looking for a piece of this. Let's just take a chunk. We can work with any of it. You gonna let me know on the numbers? Okay. Close this door so it doesn't echo so bad. Did Mitch not get introduced? Catch Mitch in the back corner. That's Mitch, child number 9, boy number 4. Yeah, hard to keep all that stuff in my head. Okay. So I already took this prototype out to Angie and checked it out to make sure it was going to fit. I was just thinking, should we do half blind dovetails on here, or should we do through dovetails? The reason I say that, if you were going to be writing on that surface, wouldn't matter. I think we'll do through dovetails. Easier to cut. So the widest piece we're going to need, which is going to be this one, it's going to be 10 and an eighth. I'm going to go, 10 and an eighth. And then we're going to need, so if we go 10 and an eighth, this piece is 16 by this one. Then we need 2 that are 8. Actually, that's got to come all the way up to the top. 8.5. 8.5 by 10 and an eighth. And we'll deal with the stuff going on in there after. So I'm going to go with a 10 and an eighth inch wide piece. We'll cut that down. Now we got to get something clear. I want to stay away from this stuff just because it looks a little messy. This is a clear section right here. So if we can come down 10 and an eighth. We need 16. That would bring us over to here. We're going to interfere with that. Knot's going to be in the way. Let's come over here. So we're down 10 and an eighth. 10 and an eighth. I might use my handsaw to come in and cut this up rather than waste a lot of wood. Be nice if we could go, although it's not going to matter. I'm going to say have the grain follow. We'll try to do that. So 8.5. 8.5 would put us right here. A little bit to cut. Then we go 16 right to here. And then 8.5 right to here. So we need to come here, finish this cut. Make sure we got enough. 10 and an eighth. 10 and an eighth. Okay.
All of those saws are available.
Huh?
They're all up and available.
You
We've
just-
sold
you
2 dovetails so far.
You just put them up?
I just made sure that they're up.
Okay. just so I can save this big piece of wood, I'm going to go over the table saw and I'm going to rip right to here, and then I'll come in and
Table
I'll
saw or bandsaw?
cross cut. Huh?
Oh, you couldn't do it on your.
No.
bandsaw.
Well, we could
You
on
don't-
that.
you
Well, frick's in the way.
You could do it on the Poitra.
How do you pronounce that?
Poitra.
That's got that cross cut in there. We didn't change the blade out. Now, see how straight that edge is? That may need to be jointed. It's actually pretty straight. How are we for numbers, Megan? Now, I'll bring the blade up high just so that the cut doesn't extend a whole lot farther. I'm going to go 10 1/4. The air's on.
Right.
It keeps closing in on the blade.
I know. Go again. I got
Thank
a wedge.
goodness for splitters.
What?
You have to go harder.
Try it now.
Tap it in. Where'd that come from?
I don't know. It was sitting there.
Huh?
It was sitting there.
That's good. That's good. Not a good sign when the board closes in like that. A lot of internal stress in there. That really wants to bind. All right, now we'll cut that. Shoot, Jake, where are my saws? That's binding. See a piece of wax? Give me that, please.
Need a wedge.
Yeah. I'll drive a chisel in there.
I can hold that.
Watch your fingers. Oh, what a nasty piece of wood. I may live to regret using this. We'll see what happens when we join it. All right, now I need to get access to my wider jointer, which is covered in junk. Oh, I didn't see. How did? Oh, and we don't need that, do we? No questions? Huh? Not paying attention.
But the count's up to 380.
Put Jeff on standby.
He knows. He's watching anyway.
Get him nervous. Is Super Dave on?
Yep.
Is Luther?
Yes, he's moderating the chat actually.
Is Ken?
Yes.
How come no power, Jake?
I don't remember
Huh?
cutting the power. The hit that on off button.
I just did.
Could be a.
Is it shut off in
Did you
the...
shut the breaker off?
I didn't. Give me just a second, I'll take a look.
I think it's in the bottom left panel.
Dawn. I flipped it back and forth to make sure. It's hardwired, so it can't be. There's no reset. Well, let's cut it up into smaller pieces and we have to process it by hand, at least the bottom side.
Can you skip playing it?
No, I want it to be flat. All right. Leave the air on because I gotta.
Got a question.
Yeah.
Is the pine, where is it? Is it air dried or kiln dried?
Kiln dried. This came from. Pardon?
We're over 4.
All right. Let me just joint this edge and then I'll.
Well,
introduce
you're.
it. Now I would prefer to always have a flat surface up against the fence, but I didn't have that luxury this time. We're just at 10 1/8, so we don't have a whole lot to play with. We didn't even get 10 1/8 down there. Do you remember the dimensions?
No.
Better get them. 16s and 8 1/2. I'm just going to get this close. Go 16 and a 16th. Okay, now cut that down even further. We can cut a lot easier than we can plane. So 10 and a those are going to be 8 and 7/8 and 10 and an 8. Easy to choose on this one. Managed to get 10 and an 8th on there. All right, good. All right, Jeff, ready?
Yeah, we took that.
I got it right here.
All right, you have to,
How's our attendance, Megan?
440.
440? Okay,
give me a second.
So
I've never
you
done
won't-
this before.
You won't be able to hear Jeff.
I won't be able to hear him?
Yes, he will.
You will.
You'll be able to hear him from the speaker in my laptop.
Is Jeff ready to go?
Give me a second.
Do you have him up?
Not yet.
I can't hear you. You saying yes or no?
He's
No.
coming. Just a sec.
No.
So you're going to go over and stand behind him.
No, you should be able to hear it. Speakers on this are pretty loud.
Okay. Bo, yeah, I'm going to turn it off. Ready?
Oh, just a sec. Jeff, can you hear me?
Why do I?
Jeff, if you can hear me, if you can turn your speakers down. Can you hear me? All right.
I feel like I can see you talking, but I can't hear you.
Okay.
Yep.
Shoot.
What's the matter?
It's because the mic is being used for this.
Yes,
So
they're down.
Can the audience hear him?
Yes.
Yeah, they can. Just a sec.
So can I introduce him and then we just turn it over to him?
Just a second. I think I figured this out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rick, I can hear you through my computer, but not through my phone. Should I turn the computer off?
All right, how about now? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right, perfect.
We're on?
All right, let me get your picture up here.
You don't have video of him or?
Yeah,
or
we do.
You do?
Now, for some reason, Rob's not moving. But go ahead.
Okay. So, yeah, you'll notice half my family's here tonight. They're not here to watch me. They're here because they wanted to hear Jeff. We only had him here for 5 days, but left quite an impact. Everybody around him liked him. He was the heart and soul of the class. I'll let him just introduce himself as far as his participation with Purple Heart Project. But he made that class probably the best class we've ever had. And it was just his natural leadership and him being willing to pour out his soul and share with everyone his situation. But it was awesome. I only called him this morning and I said, Jeff, I just had this idea. Would you? And he said, absolutely, I would. So, Jeff, take it away. Tell them whatever you think they need to hear. What you're talking to with a lot of the people that support our Purple Heart Project through their donations. And a lot of them have a pretty good understanding, but just in case they don't, you just say whatever you want to say.
Thank you, Rob. First, I want to say thank you to you and thank you to your entire family for giving me this opportunity to talk about my experience at your workshop and what it meant for me and for my family. I think some veterans need to hear some of what I want to say because I think it's important to understand really what this course brings you. So, just a quick background of myself. I've been a Navy UD tech for about 19 years now, and about 5 years ago, I started having some symptoms and some issues resulting from multiple concussions from blast overpressure, and I saw myself having a lot of
Jeff, sorry, I didn't have the audio on there. I think I just turned it on. Can you start over? I apologize.
Sure, no problem, Rick. I just want to thank Rob and his family for giving me the opportunity to speak to you guys tonight. Hello to everybody out there. I wanted to give an opportunity just to express what this course did for me as an individual, as a veteran, and for those guys out there who may be interested in it, what it can bring you as well. So just a quick background on myself. You know, I'm a current active duty Navy EUD tech. I've been in the Navy now about 19 years. And about 5 years ago, I started having some issues, physical and mental issues based on some blast overpressure concussions that I had over the years. And those manifest themselves in multiple ways. You know, physically, I had a lot of injuries, but the worst part for me was probably the mental portion. And I think a lot of guys out there can probably relate to those PTSD related issues, as well as the TBI related issues that kind of join together, whether it's the cognitive problems, whether it is anger issues, depression, anxiety, hypervigilance, you know, whatever that might be. You know, I'm sure guys out there can relate to that. So I went to the NICO at Walter Reed to get some traumatic brain injury treatment. While I was up there during some of the therapy sessions, they had asked me a question about what is it that makes me happy in life, and I found it very hard for me to find an answer to that. And they said, "Well, what makes you happy?" And I said, "Really, nothing right now." And she said, "Well, what used to make you happy?" And I said, "I used to love woodworking. You know, I had been doing it since about 1997 when I met my wife, and just kind of died off over the years. And partially because, just like all you guys out there, you know, multiple deployments, just no time to get involved in that. And so she suggested that weekend I go home and clean off a machine and just, you know, think about woodworking. So I did that, and I came back and I felt kind of this energy for woodworking again. And when I came back, Robb's Purple Heart Project was brought to my attention while I was at NICO. And that night I researched it, and I thought it was such an incredible opportunity. And I had known of Robb Cosman and all he's done, but I wasn't really tracking on the Purple Heart Project. So I applied for it, and I was accepted. But during the process of the application part, I actually contacted them and asked them to withdraw my name from the application because I felt like, you know, what I was going through wasn't really valid for going to this course. And, you know, they convinced me that I was the type of person that they wanted to have at that course. And if you guys are out there and you can relate to what I'm saying, when you have issues inside your mind that affect you, and your friends are walking around and they're quadruple amputees and double amputees and that, you don't feel like the guy that needs help. You want to help your buddies who are in that situation. So I felt a little strange after I applied for it. But through talking to them and talking to other guys that had gone through the course, it felt like something I really wanted to do. And I can tell you that going to this course and spending 5 days with Robb and his family has changed my life. And it made me realize how much joy, how much peace can be brought through woodworking for a guy like me. And, guys out there who are, running and gunning for 15, 20 years, or even just a couple deployments under your belt, you need something that's going to bring you peace. And this course did it for me. It was nonstop woodworking, except for Jake and Robb's breaks to go play hockey, and just an incredible opportunity. And being with the civilians in the course, as well as other military members, was incredible, because the military guys, we all related. We all had the same things. When you guys know out there, when combat vets get together and we talk about our experiences and what we're going through in our minds, there's a lot of similarity there. So we initially bonded right off the bat. But what I thought was great was the civilians and the military guys bonded just as much. And we learned as much from them as they did from us. And it was an absolutely incredible experience. I highly recommend anybody that is even intrigued by this concept to look into it further. But I can't thank Robb and his family enough. They are selfless people. They are a wonderful family. And, and it's genuine. When we stand up during part of the class and we talk about our stories, you can see in Robb's face how much it really affects him. And it is truly his life's calling, I think. And the support he gets from his wonderful family, and Frick, the guy here who's doing the sound, his cooking every night and the barbecues, it's phenomenal. It's a family environment, very supportive, incredible learning. And when I came back, I started a company, and I plan on doing this when I retire now in a year and a half. And it's been a wonderful journey, and I could not have done it without Robb Cosman. So thank you, Robb.
My pleasure, Jeff. You're the reason we do it. We've What's the matter?
Never mind, she's way behind.
It's all reciprocated. Now, are we going to get him to tell what he's donating?
Get him to show his bowl.
Jeff, can you show them? So, Jeff, if you don't follow Jeff, actually, you need to add Jeff on Facebook, because he puts out videos all the time of him working in the shop, stuff that he makes. So, Mitch over there is my shaver. I only shave once a week. I have to pay Mitch to do it, but I lay there on the massage table and I get the whole hot towel treatment, the whole bit. And I started seeing Jeff was making these shave brushes. It only took about 6 months, but I finally got one, and now it's all part of the routine. So Super Dave got Jeff to make him one out of Vera wood, and he even made him a little bowl. Vera wood to Dave is a precious commodity, and apparently there was enough left over that Jeff made an extra bowl and a brush, and he wants to donate that to the Purple Heart Project. So how are we doing if anybody, are we auctioning it? What are we doing?
No, he's selling it separately on his Facebook.
So if you go to, how do they contact Jeff?
I'll paste the link, but I think it's under O'Connor Woodworking on Facebook if they do a search.
It is, yep. If you can go to O'Connor Woodworking on Facebook, or you can go to O'Connor Woodworking on Instagram, and you can take a look at the brush. I did a video on it, but I've got it here with me as well to show you guys. It doesn't really do it justice in this light where I'm in now, but the Vera wood is incredibly beautiful wood. It finishes wonderfully, and it's starting to get that kind of greenish tint to it that the UV rays give it. Jake had yelled at me earlier today and told me to get this thing outside so that it could get greener, but unfortunately it was raining. So I'm sorry, Jake, I let you down on that one.
That's
But
all right,
if you go, if you go to that site, you can place your bids. And tomorrow night at 5, we're going to have the winning bid. I believe it's up to $150 right now.
Oh, wow.
And you're also going to get a nice shave soap as well. So just really excited to be able to take this opportunity to donate something towards Robb's cause. And thanks to Super Dave for actually donating the rest of the wood to make this happen as well.
Luther had a question. He wanted to know if it works on legs.
Don't pan the camera down because you'll see it does.
No.
Silky smooth.
So there's Verewood,
They can't see.
and
it.
that one.
They
No,
can't
See you until
can't see. All right.
he goes.
Jeff, that was awesome, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. I appreciate it.
It's mutual, and you'll be back. So there.
I
now
can't
we-
wait.
Almost. Just give me a second.
Tell me when we're up.
For some reason, you're frozen.
In time?
Yeah. Jake, you want to just turn off the transmitter and turn it back on?
Technical difficulties?
Well, this is new for us. And you asked me to do it less than an hour ago, so.
Is that true?
No, that's not true at all.
No, I thought it was a lie.
Well, fine, 2 hours.
Are we on?
Give me 1 second. They can hear you, though.
You can hear me. Well, I'm standing here holding a Verewood saw handle so that you can see up close what Verewood looks like. This one is in the process of turning green. It's not there yet. I had it out on the window ledge. Usually only takes about a day in the sun. But it gets a deep emerald green. It's a beautiful color. And
There
it's
we go.
extremely heavy. This is related to lignin vitae, which is the wood that they used to use for making stern tube bearings. That was the bearing that the shaft that drove the propeller went out through the hull. They actually made it out of wood because it's naturally oily and it would wear extremely well.
This is called lignum vitae. It's Argentine lignum vitae.
Okay. Also known as Verewood. So there's the Verewood. And if the light's right, you can see the green
We
coming out.
call it an emerald green.
Emerald green. Beautiful stuff. Did we show them all these?
No,
No,
but
we didn't.
we're-
Now we got to get to work. So Jake got the. What was wrong?
one of the contacts was loose.
Oh, who did that, Jake?
Actually,
All
wasn't.
right. Well, we're going to save some time and go over in the joiner's working now. Where to get the Verewood? From the
From Super
Verewood
Dave.
tree.
Super Dave.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, only Super Dave is allowed to have Verewood. So if you want any, you have to get it from him. Good luck. I'm just looking for something to scrape. I've got some finish. Imagine using my expensive jointer as a place to finish wood. Does that come on automatically? Where's my other?
They're all over with the other jointer.
Where's? That's what I want. Now I'm taking off enough that I'm going to take 2 passes. Now these are a little short for this, so I'm going to go corner to corner. Nah, I'm not going to do that. It wasn't wide enough. That's actually all right. That's probably the limit, though. I wouldn't go any shorter than that.
Should you explain to them the danger in doing it that a piece that short?
Well, yeah, the danger is that you nosedive down into that opening. I'm lucky in that my that gap is fairly small. Oh, shoot, the thing went off again. Now they're probably plenty long enough to go through here, but I'm going to feed one right behind the other just to make sure. Then I'll feed the big one last. Ouch. Now I want to think about thickness. I'm going to take that top down to 1/2 inch. But I'm going to leave the sides for a couple reasons. I like to elongate the pin, but I also want a little extra material for when we attach that slide. So let's go 5/8 on the side. So 1/2 inch and 5/8. Should do it. That huge chunk it took out of that. Okay.
Can we
Now
kill the
this
air?
one, huh?
Kill the air.
We'll go ahead and process this one first. It's the easy one. I'm going to square up those edges. Or straighten and square the edge, and then straighten and square the ends. I'm using a 5.5 and my shooting board.
Do you hear that?
Yeah. Yeah. I thought about maybe we need to go in and polish them. That's 10 and just shy an 1/8. 10 and just shy an 1/8, so those sides are parallel. So I'll just go in and remove any of the saw marks. Need to take a few more passes here. I still have some. So when you're doing a long piece like this, you can't, this isn't going to square up. This setup is not going to square this long edge to there. All I'm using that for is just a stop. What I'm doing, or the reason I'm using the shooting board, is it keeps it square in this direction. So when doing this, you have to push with my left hand directly across from the blade, pushing the board against the sole of the plane, and I'm using that to straighten the edge. Now I'll go in and make these square. I've got more reference surface here than I do here. Now it's possible. I'm going to flip this over. We'll go in and cut a little chamfer on there. We lost our audience. See, they were only here for Jeff. What? I knew they weren't. How are our numbers?
It's about 450 right now.
Cut my chamfer, flip that over. How are we doing on Purple Heart donations?
Dave says, boy, that thickness planer's real nice.
Yeah, yeah. I'll bet he wishes he had one. Okay, so this piece is done, squared up and ready. Now, these edges. First thing we need to do is square the stock up. You can't do anything until that's square. Flip it around. Now, when you're doing this, in order to keep those two edges parallel, you've got to make sure that you're taking full-length shavings off both sides. Okay, now we can square up an end. I'm not going to bother doing the top one because we're going to cut that on an angle. But let's just, so this is going to be cut like that. So Frick, you got the whole thing figured out, so next time we do it, we know exactly what's going to happen?
Sure.
All right. So the angle on here,
You're going to keep that big piece of pitch?
what, Jake?
You're going to keep that big stripe of pitch?
Well, we can get rid of it if you want. Are you suggesting we turn it around?
And cut that?
Yeah, actually, well, there's some here too.
Well, that's, I was asking.
But you
I
know
wasn't
what? That's
saying.
That's what smells. That's what keeps it alive.
Can you explain the chamfer you do before the full strokes?
On the shooting board.
Do we have a newbie?
No, that's from Nick, actually. I think he just wants you to explain it for everybody else.
Nick who?
Nick Brown.
Our Nick?
Yeah.
Nick
In
who's
for?
supposed to be here, Nick?
No.
He
no,
can't be
No,
here.
he wasn't supposed to be
That's
here.
right. Okay, so in case you're interested, that is 10, 20, 30 degrees. And so Nick asked, we'll tell Nick. So if I were to, we can get rid of it going this way, Jake.
Well, I wasn't saying get rid of it. I was wondering if you wanted to keep it
Yeah.
because it could line up.
If we were to
the
just
top.
plane this end and not do anything special, when we get here, those fibers are going to break out. So what we do is we flip the board around, pull it out from the fence right here, and we cut a little chamfer right there first. Now we turn it
Let me
back
see it.
around.
Well, you can see it on the end.
You can't
right.
because I already planed that. Now you'll see a little gap right there, and we would simply start planing until that gap disappears, almost. If you go too far, then you defeat the purpose. You can see it. We haven't gone all the way. But you can plane right to there, and you're safe. Okay. Now,
Nick
before
is invited to future events. Just
Nick's always invited.
after.
This was actually a different Nick, sorry. It just said Nick B, so I thought it was
Oh, it wasn't Nick.
wasn't our Nick. Different Nick.
So what I'm thinking is I need to go in and plane these surfaces now, because if we plane them after we cut them on an angle, they're impossible to hold on to. So these two pieces need to be surfaced. Are you making? Oh yeah, I need to give a shout out to Lori and Joseph in Honolulu. I spoke to them yesterday, I think. They'd purchased some stuff. Hope you guys are well. If you have to be quarantined, Hawaii would be a good place to have it happen. Actually, Kim and I have been there twice. I was teaching on the the Honolulu Woodcraft, and they put us up in the Hawaii Prince, which is right on Waikiki Beach. We were on about the 10th floor, and the window in your room, which must be 8 feet wide by 4 or 5 feet tall, just opens up like that, and we would sleep in it. That breeze, cool breeze coming in off the water, would blow in all night long. That was awesome.
We've sold all of the dovetail saws.
Just the Dovetail.
Yeah. We should mention that that bench crosscut is actually the bench crosscut that used to be
Sitting over there.
right there.
Jake, show the pry saw again, just real quick.
So that pry saw, this handle, this is that is the maple that Sean, my friend down in the US of A, who does all our resin impregnating for us. So when you resin impregnate the wood, it increases the weight by about 40%. And it puts a beautiful finish on it when you buff it up. It just feels like glass. All right, I'm going to go in here and retract my blade because that was way too heavy. And when I do this, I need to overlap each pass. Or what I should say, let me tell you what I'm doing. The first pass, part of the blade is going to be over the edge. Then the next pass is going to overlap that pass by about 1/4. And then right on down the line. And if you've treated your blade properly, then you shouldn't have any plane tracks, which are demarcation lines where one pass overlaps another. You got to love that pine. This is northern white pine. It's beautiful wood to work. It's light. It's strong.
And it ages.
Who am I
well.
describing? Super Dave? Light, strong. I need to resurface my bench. No comments from Jeff or anybody on that? Who am I describing? I'm flipping that around just because I just started to feel the grain tear. Super just got back. He spent the last, how long was he up there?
2 or 3 weeks.
2 or 3 weeks in Alaska helping his mom get ready. She's moving from Alaska, from Ketchikan down to Seattle.
She wanted someone to keep her company while she worked.
That's a low blow.
What's the reason you take the shaving out of the plane?
Is that Dave asking?
Nope.
Well, if you don't, and you pull it back like that, sometimes the shaving gets sucked underneath the plane, then it gets stuck on the bottom, and then you've got to go in there and scrape it off, particularly on wood that's really pitchy, like this, or when there's a lot of static. So to save that, now I can feel some plane tracks on there. So I'm going to go in there and I'm going to shift the blade just ever so slightly. I pulled the blade in as well. See if I can get rid of these. I need to move it still just a little bit. So when I run my hand across like that, I shouldn't feel anything. And I can. There's one right there. That's better. I'm going to double check this one. Yeah, this one has it too. I was talking instead of concentrating. Is Loren on tonight?
Yep.
Rue? Loren is my daughter number 3, child number 4.
5.
Sorry. Nothing personal, Rue. I remember you. She lives in Calgary, and she's studying to be a equine masseuse. For those of you like me who wouldn't know what that meant, she's going to give horses a massage and treat them with acupuncture and all kinds of stuff, like they need it, right?
That board isn't flat.
In what way?
Or
Up
your
this
bench,
way?
or your bench isn't flat.
Oh, the bench is in need of some work.
When you're, it's cupped.
Yeah, well, that's all right. The dovetail will pull that out,
Okay.
and I can force it out. I need a little more blade. I also have my daughter Annika and my daughter Carissa and her son, my grandson Beckham, living in Calgary. So those three girls live together out there.
Should you explain that snipe you're trying to get rid of?
Yeah. So if you can see that line, that came from the thickness planer. The imperfections of power tools. And I'm trying to get down through it without running out of wood first. Now, it's still there. It's quite heavy. Although it is starting to disappear. In case you're wondering what I'm using for a plane, this is a Wood River 5.5. That's considered a jack plane. I got hired by Woodcraft back in 2008 to help them develop their hand plane line. And this is the result. That's beautiful. Oh, that stuff feels great. I consider Wood River, as it is right now, to be the best value in hand planes. I think Lee Nielsen makes the best planes. Wood River makes the planes that offer the best value for what you pay. You'll notice in my tool cabinet I have a combination of both. Any vets speaking up and saying hello? Hi?
You actually.
Who? Jake? Hockey Jake? Who?
Paul.
Paul from down in Australia?
Yep.
Howdy, Paul. Howdy, Jake. We're suffering from hockey withdrawal. They've shut down all of our rinks.
It's already been pointed out.
Pardon?
People have discussed how you look disheveled from not playing hockey.
Oh, I'm feeling terrible. We're going to move some machines and we're going to set up
We're gonna sell.
we're going to sell some machines, right? And then we're going to set up a shooting lane on that side of the shop. We got a net we're going to bring in. So at least we can keep that part of us in shape. All right. I can't express enough how gorgeous this wood is. People always complain, oh, pine's too soft, too soft. No, it is a beautiful wood. It ages better than anything else. And when you get into this clear northern white pine, this stuff is an absolute pleasure. What do you think, Frack?
Frackin'.
Your favorite?
Smells nice.
It does. It feels nice. It ages better than anything else. Now, let me be a little more instructive. So when I'm planing a wide panel like this, if you hold your plane like that and go step, 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 you could create this, you could create that. But by turning my plane on an angle, I'm now reading a much wider swath. So as I take that pass, it helps to guide the cut for the next path and on down across the width. So right here. All the weight is right here. This hand is merely pushing forward. As I engage the blade, both hands are pushing down on a 45. And as I exit, I bear down harder here than on the front so as not to drop off the end. And I can feel where that overlap mark is. I try to hit it so that about anywhere from a third to a quarter of the blade is, ooh, that's sticky. There's a little strip right there I missed. I'll keep the wax on it. That pitch, you can feel it. And no matter what you do, you put a finish on it and it'll continue to bleed through. But that's just part of the wood.
You have 12 Lee Nielsen planes in your cabinet
I do?
and 9 Wood River.
How do you know?
I counted. This is your third board.
Well, here. This is a Lee Nelson because nobody else makes a number 8. Wood River, Wood River. This is a Lee Nelson I rarely use, but it's a little block plane. Does not have an adjustable throat. This is a Lee Nelson rabbiting block. Blade goes both all the way over to both sides, but I never use it. I rarely use it. This in here is my 5.5, which is probably out of here 85% of the time. This is the Lee Nelson 10 1/4, also known as a carriage maker's plane or a bench rabbit. See the blade? All the way both sides. Also has tilting handles so that you can work up to a vertical surface without busting your knuckles. Great plane. I use this a lot. I use this when I make our dovetail markers, drawer dovetail markers. This is the Wood River 4.5. This is the Wood River scrub plane. This is the Lee Nelson number 112. This was a large scraping plane. I said was?
Yeah.
Don't use it very often. This is the number 85. This too has rabbiting capability. Blade goes all the way and handles tilt so that you can work into a vertical surface, saving those knuckles. This is a butt mortise plane. So you can use it for mortising hinges. And big open space so you can see. The plane is supported by the surrounding area. You set your blade to the thickness of your butt hinge. You go in there after knifing the long edge and the two cross edges, and then you go in there and just clean out that material in between, and you end up with a perfectly flat and parallel bottom. Now if you come over here, this is Wood River. This is a Lee Nelson Skew block plane. Such a good plane that starting this year we're gonna give one to every vet that comes to our workshop. That's part of the reason why we are now giving them more. This is the Lee Nelson Squirrel Tail, and I use this quite a bit. I love this. That your finger goes up underneath.
I think it's called a model maker.
Some might, but it's called a squirrel tail. That goes up into your palms. It gives you a little more control. This is the Lee Nelson small router plane. Very precise tool. Simple, but love it. Use it a lot. This is a Wood River 1/2 inch shoulder plane. This is a Lee Nelson 5/8 inch shoulder plane. Wood River 3/4 inch. Wood River 1 inch. And if you step over here, this is the Lee Nelson large router plane, and I put a base on there just so that you would have more support. What else? This is a Lee Nelson flat or curved? Flat bottom spoke shave, patterned after a Preston. This is the round bottom version. This is a Stanley scraping. Well, it holds a scraper in position like a big spoke shave. These are both Pinnacle, made by Woodcraft spoke shaves. This is a Lee Nelson. This is a round one for doing. If you think about doing a chair leg and you're wanting to clean that up, it would be. You could do the same thing with a flat or a flat bottom, but you're going to have multiple facets. That's going to give you a little curve, so it's a little bit smoother. This is an old Stanley. This is the. I have a pair of these. These are the 98 and 99 Aside Rabbit planes. These are made by Lee Nelson. Interesting tool. Don't use it very often, but it's one of those tools that only that can do the job. This is a Lee Nelson edge plane, so it allows you to go in and square up an edge just because of the shape of the tool. And this is a Wood River small chisel plane. So that's the rundown. And you could, I use, number 1 would be the 85, the 5.5. Number 2 would be the block plane. Number 3 would be the medium shoulder plane. Number 4 in terms of use would probably be the skew block plane. Now you know.
I would say that the router plane might get used more than the shoulder plane.
Yeah, it depends on what we're doing.
They want to know what kind of wax you use, beeswax or paraffin, and
When's it going to be ready, Jake?
yeah, they want
Should
to know
be
about the wax.
It should be
smell.
ready by next weekend.
It should be ready before our next live broadcast next week. And it'll be in that little dispenser. Be very convenient. Okay.
And it is not beeswax.
And no, it's not beeswax. Beeswax is just too sticky. I don't like beeswax at all. Maybe the bees do, but I don't. Yeah, that actually was a formula that he worked around with to try to give us what we wanted was hard enough that it wouldn't cake, but soft enough that it would leave a bit of a film. Okay. Oh, I didn't do that side. All has to be done. This isn't like a normal episode where we can pause the camera. Now, what I'm doing right here is when I dog that down, I want that to sit tight to the bench. So just hitting both of them will pull that down. And the bench dogs are canted. About 3 degrees this direction, and these are 3 degrees that direction. In other words, if you had them straight up and down, as you wind in your tail vise, they're going to pop like that, and the board's going to be released. So you have to have a little bit of cant so that can't happen. How clever.
Besides where they come from, is there much of a difference between eastern and northern white pine?
Eastern and northern. It's probably the same thing. I don't think there's. I think it's funny. Every
Yeah, Luther just said that they're same thing.
huh?
Luther
Every
said same thing.
well, if Luther says it, I'll say no more. But every area has its own unique name. You know, every area's got an ironwood, although they're not all the same. But northern white pine is called white pine, pine, eastern pine. I don't know if sugar pine is actually a different species, but they're related close enough that I couldn't tell them apart. Lodgepole is definitely different. Western pine is different. Southern yellow is completely different. This one is the one that has that beautiful quality for use in trim or in furniture. Shakers used to use it for drawer sides. It's light and strong.
Pete's on. He said, "Sorry I'm
Pete-
late.
Pete
I just
from
got stitches."
Mississippi?
Yeah, I just got stitches about 8. I lost a fight with my table saw.
Pete, you're going to have to call me after. Fill me in on what happened. I'll tell you the Luther story. Hope you're all right. Got a little bit of a dip right there. All right. How are our numbers?
Around 550.
You hear that static?
Yeah. Oh,
Static
from that?
one?
Yeah. Yeah, there is lots. Okay. Now the layout. And this is going to be a little bit difficult because of the geometry. What are you doing, Jake?
I just want to know what that white line is.
And what I mean by that is that's a pretty severe angle. So I don't know whether we should put the tails on this piece or on the side.
It's no more steep than your cabinet, right?
Where? Yeah, it is.
It is?
I think so.
Compare it.
check and see. Yeah. No, it's not
less.
as. It's not as. Well, what we'll do is we'll lay it out with a pencil and then just kind of see what we think. But I had every intention of putting the pins in here, but I'm afraid there wouldn't be any strength. If we put the tails in this piece and the pins came down here on an angle, that's just too short a grain. That wouldn't have the strength we want. So I'm having to do these the opposite of what I wanted. Let's draw this out.
Can you mix softwoods and hardwoods when building projects?
Yeah, I do all the time. Well, I shouldn't say I do that all the time. There's a limit. Here's these drawer sides are made out of aspen, but that's actually a deciduous, but it's a soft wood. The fronts, although it looks like mahogany, it's actually not, but it's very hard. And there's no problem there as far as seasonal expansion goes. But you're not going to have an issue on seasonal expansion on something that's 4 inches wide anyway. You think about how much that's going to move. I don't think the moisture content in the wood in this shop, because we control the temperature and humidity, I don't think the moisture content in that wood from season to season would change more than 1%. How much is this wood going to move by have its moisture going from 7% to 8%? Not enough to bother that. I don't think. So I often use pine. Just trying to think. Yeah, over here we did. All of these drawers are pine drawer sides on birch fronts. No problem. Don't beat yourself up by using a hardwood that's difficult to work on the side. You don't need it. Don't need it. While we're here, look at this. Is that not gorgeous? This is Pacific Yew. And I think it's one of the prettiest woods. The color is just absolutely remarkable. It feels great in the hand. A little bit of sapwood right there. I did a couple of these. It's the most incredible wood. Now, I know I say that about a lot of different woods, but there's another pretty one here. Oh, this English walnut. I just think that's one of all the walnuts, I think that might be the prettiest. Here's another one here. Just the colors in it. Dark, almost blacks, browns. That's a little bit of sapwood down at the bottom. Beautiful wood. Gorgeous. There's a piece of red oak. This sat on a river bottom for how long? Remember?
200.
And
Oh no, we estimated that it was 330.
yeah, so we counted the rings. So how many rings did we get in an inch?
30.
There were 30 rings in an inch, and the stuff you buy today is usually 9 or 10.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when they talk about old growth. So much wood, so little time. All right, let's figure out this layout. I'm not hurrying because I don't expect to get this done tonight. I'm going to go 7. Have we got 7 and 7/8 left? Oh, yeah, we got lots. So I'm actually going to go 8. So at the 8-inch mark, and then we're going to bring that down. We'll mark one, and then we'll just trace the other one off of it. Say what?
On your cabinets, you put the tails on the end, like that piece right there.
Just a second. Pay attention to what you just said. That doesn't leave us a whole lot of space for a drawer, does it? I wonder. We better steal a little bit more, a little bit more height. And we're going to make this a little bit taller. What were you saying, Jake? What did you just say?
This is the piece that you put. the tails in on your upright pullers.
On these?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So you'd see the pins on the top. Okay. Wish I didn't have that pencil mark on there. I'm gonna have to do this one because I want to draw these out. Come up 8.5. Now I'm using PEC layout stuff. This is one of the best finds we've made in a long time, just because it's extremely well made and it's a fraction of the price of Starrett, which is the industry standard. Okay, so there's our angle. Now we got to go in there, and I'm going to pencil in the dovetail. What we want to do is we want to avoid really short grain. I'll use my dividers. Now, I'm actually going to have to start.
Is there a reason you can't cut this right now?
Well, I'm just, no, there isn't. But I'm going to, I'm just doing it by pencil first, just to some idea. So there's the bottom, because I'm going to have to freehand the dovetail in order to salvage those angles. I'll use my smaller square. So we want to have slope. So if we start right about here, now I'm going to take that dimension and move it up here. But the problem, yeah, okay, we can do that. So I'm making the angle in relation to this line. I know, it doesn't leave us a whole lot of material there. Yeah, let me go in here. I'm going to set this for 10 degrees because that's typically the angle that we work with on our dovetails. Let's see how far off we are. That one's pretty close. Swing that one over to 10 degrees. You see, the problem is here, if we went 10 degrees, we'd have nothing out here for a pin. That's why I brought it down around a little bit more. Now I'm going to step off on that top line. We'll go about that big.
Pete says, can the bed desk work on a waterbed?
You have to have floats on it. They still have water beds down in Mississippi? Pete was in our, which workshop?
First one, October.
Pete was in both Vietnam and the first Gulf War. Army. And Pete was the life of the party. What was his comment about getting a discount? I'm trying to go over that, past that line. That's why I'm opening up a little more. What was his comment about?
I can't remember how he tied it in.
Something about walking into, something about stores.
He'll tell us. Okay, that's too small. Got to do it again. I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to leave a bunch of marks on here. The amount that I go past that other line will determine how big the inside pins are. And actually, I'm being too conservative. I should have had them a little bit bigger. I'm going to go just a little bit more. Promise this will be the last one. So how many tails we're going to have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So we'll go with that. Now I got to go back and leave a mark. Leave a mark. We normally do this on the end of the board. And then here, we come in and we start on that half pin mark and we go back the other way. How are our donations? I haven't had to do any shout outs. Okay, if we go 10 degrees on these, any t-shirt sales? We need you guys to buy and wear your t-shirts so
Yeah, we've had a couple.
people will ask you and you'll be able to talk about the Purple Heart. I'm almost there. I might as well finish this. I'll only lay out one side and then I'll just use it to trace the other. Or I might actually just gang saw them. Now if we go 10 degrees over here, how was dinner, Frick?
Delicious, thank you.
Least I could do.
You have been working me extra hard this week.
Yeah, Costco's paying for it.
No.
Okay. So here's our tails. So where do we get into trouble? You see this? You see how short the grain is running this way. So look how short the grain is going to be on that corner. That's where you start to worry. This is all right.
You should mark out the waist.
Huh? Well, this is your waist. My biggest concern is when we're putting this together, I don't want to break that short grain. Once it's together and glued, I'm not concerned. But putting it together. However, if we put it together with a block covering the entire surface, tap it all in, we should be fine. So let's go ahead and cut the what?
I don't see much slope.
Well, you have to look at it. You have to look at it this way. Then you have lots of slope. It's not going to come apart. Bandsaw or table saw? Let's go with the bandsaw. Have we released that? We've been doing one YouTube video a day to try to help with the boredom, and this week we've been doing it on bandsaw. So we have one that will release tonight.
No.
What?
Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow?
Well, this is today.
All right, and it'll be on setting up your bandsaw. We did it on this saw today, and it'll show you how to put your blade in, how to adjust your guides, your backup bearing, the whole bit. So I'm going to stay just outside of that line. Now we'll go shoot that. Huh?
Sorry, I was off. Why don't you cut off the angle first and mark the dovetail the normal way?
Well, because I was saving it. I wanted to lay it out and see what it looked like, and if I needed to, I need to be able to plane off all those pencil marks. And like I said, it's too hard to plane when it's angled like that, so I kept it square. Now that I'm happy with that, I don't have to worry about it. It'll all come off when we're in. But had I need to start over, it would have been easier to eliminate the marks. When you hear one continuous, I'm still getting marks there where I missed, there I went low with the bandsaw. Down here. That's close. Okay, now we need a marking gauge. Set the marking gauge to the thickness of the top. Now we're going to cut a rabbit in this? No, we wouldn't. We'd be cutting a rabbit in that. Set that for the thickness. Lock it. Now, I already planed that. So, if I set my marking gauge for the exact thickness, when I put it together, it's essentially going to come out flush, and then in order to clean it up, I'm going to have to plane all of this off. If I set my marking gauge to be just a little bit thicker, I just have to plane off the ends of the tails and bring them down to it, so I won't sacrifice any of this thickness.
Wait. Never mind.
So I'm just going to hang the cutter over the end just a little bit. When I say a little bit, if you want to look, there's how much you can't
Thickness
see
of the
from that
cutter?
side. Not quite. Not quite on the bevel. So now we'll scribe a line on both sides.
Ooh,
Yeah.
you might have needed that bigger cutter head.
That's going to be awkward to do there. I'll have to do it with a knife.
The other end.
Yeah, I gotta do them with a knife. Okay. Now we can put this in the vise. And I'm going to put it this way because that's the way we're cutting them. We're referencing off of the end, not the side. I need to come square across the end of the board. Jake, do you know where my dovetail marker is?
In the drawer.
It is put away?
Mm-hmm.
Frick, would you do me a favor?
Yep.
Glass of water, please. Dying of thirst. Thank you. Now, some of you are saying, hey, he's using a pencil. I switch back and forth, especially since people keep sending me pencils. I got to use them up. Because they can relate to me running around looking for a pencil. The only time I don't do that is when Luther's here. Mark your waist. Get out your weapon. So how many dovetail saws did we move?
6.
Any other ones?
Oh, I think we sold a large 10.
We only do spring cleaning once a year. Okay, We've been through this before, but I'll do it again. Cuts across the end of the board must be perpendicular. Thank you.
No, we sold both of our large tenons.
Cuts across the end of the board must be perpendicular. In order for the joint to work, that's imperative. The angles to the slopes doesn't really matter. This is the tenon this is the template you're creating. Pieces you're going to cut have to fit in there, but when you make your cut across here and then your cut across here, and you remove that, you have an opening on both sides.
Your blade needs to be sharpened.
Pardon?
There's little nicks all across the end grain.
Of what? Oh, here?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see that? I can't. Back to what I was saying. When I remove this waste, there will be an opening here and here. Obviously, it goes all the way through. But this size has to be the same as this size, because you're going to mark your pin referencing off of this end, but what you mark from this end will end up over here. So if your cuts were not perpendicular, they're either going to make this side either smaller or larger. Either way, it's not going to fit properly over here. So you have to do that right. Get your lamp so that you highlight your line, both this one and this one. Lay your saw on there. I have a very light grip. I'm utilizing the little teeth at the front of my saw to get this started. I use my index finger and thumb as an anchor point to press against them with. Line it up so that all I see on this side of the saw is the pencil line. Oh, wait a minute now. Shoot. So I'm so used to cutting 10 degrees. This was purposely made more than 10 degrees. I got to go back in there now and make that even steeper.
Fortunately,
What?
you were cutting into the waist.
Yeah. Well, it'll screw me up when it comes to transfer. Now, recalibrate. Go back to 10 degrees. Remember, we made that one more than 10 degrees to prevent this from being nothing at the base. I do all of one side. Before I reposition my lamp. And this saw cuts extremely fast, particularly in this pine. How are we for time?
20 minutes.
How many?
20 minutes left.
We're at an hour and 40.
We are. I think we're back.
What's the matter?
I think we're back.
We are? Volume's back? Did that question get heard? That answer, Megan?
I don't think so.
What was it?
Dog holes.
Oh.
Angle.
So the question was, which way do the dog holes go? Angle?
Angle from the end vise, yeah.
So this one, the ones on the bench angle this way, and the ones in the tail vise angle the opposite way. So they face each other like this. Okay. Now, should we just go ahead and lay that out?
Is
Or
there a reason you
transfer.
didn't put a
What?
a,
Rabbit?
yeah.
Ebby is here from the October 2019 class.
Who?
Ebby.
Ebby?
He's a little shook.
Yeah, Ebby, you survived that earthquake.
Still, there's aftershocks are still going on in the threes.
In the threes?
Yeah, like we just had a 3.4 aftershock today.
All right, let's go over and
What's the difference between joinery and crosscut saws?
joinery and crosscut.
Well, they must be meaning joinery and bench crosscut.
There's two. There's a joinery crosscut. I'll show you. Can't go below my line on this one. So the joinery crosscut is the same size as the dovetail saw. It has 15 teeth per inch, and it has just 2 thou set per side. But the distance from the tooth line to the brass back is only 1.5 inches. So you have lots of control. The bench crosscut, and I don't actually have one here because it's over there, is the same size as the medium tenon, has a heavier blade for a deeper cut, has 2 inches depth of cut, and has 13 teeth per inch. It's 1 inch longer, so it's a bigger saw. More for what you would use just lopping pieces off, and then you're going to come in and get close. The joinery crosscut is purposely made so that you can go in and actually join right from the saw. So think about cutting the shoulder off of a tenon. All right. I put my line on the wrong side. I got to put it on again because I can only shoot it in one direction. And I think what I'll do is I'll go in, I'll knife that in. Flood it with light so I can see. Oh, I can't see. Son of a gun. I need more light, more magnification. There. And when you get close to that knife line, the little fibers start to break off. It helps you tell where you are. Okay, got to stay away from that end because I'm really close. Okay, now I think what I can do is I can saw right through that into the second piece. I'll show you what I mean. We'll lay this out first. Line these two pieces up. I'm going to purposely hold them up a little bit higher. I need to be even higher still. Now, I'll use a couple of, oh, they took all my clamps. Fortunately, they didn't know about the two back there. I'm competing with Kenzie and Kim, who are building an apartment upstairs in the shop. And my tools mysteriously disappear constantly. Now what I'm thinking of doing is going in here.
It might need to be higher.
Keep me on line down there, Jake.
Yep. Right.
Huh?
I can't see anymore.
Why? Because all the...
Yeah. You can almost push that saw through the wood.
This is the advantage to having such narrow set. The saw guides, the kerf guides the saw with no play. You know what? I'm going to try something.
10 minutes left.
I'm only doing this because just to start it.
Do explain.
The
Set's more worn.
no, the rip tooth, and it may be because of the extreme angle, was starting to tear at the beginning of the cut. So by going in there and using the crosscut, oh shoot, Jake, I followed that old kerf.
I can fix it.
I will. I'll come back to it.
Keep going.
I'm going to come back and do them when I can see them. Last one.
No.
This one up here that I screwed up on the first time. I managed to do it in the second one as well. Now, since this is going to be the outside, I'm going to turn that around. Come on.
You're curved.
What?
You're twisted a little bit.
You know what else I think? I think I'm way off. I'm going to have to make another piece.
You mean it didn't guide you well?
No. No. Unacceptable. Can't do it. Can't do it.
Should Rob use
Now.
the marking gauge for the tailboard shoulder line?
Yes.
Yeah. So here's what I'm going to explain to you. That little trick didn't work. And as a result, when I put a 6-inch long square on there, I'm out beyond my tolerance. My tolerance on that is 1/8 of an inch,
Oof.
and that's double.
Call
that-
Super Dave.
That is not going to work, so I'm going to have to go in and I'm going to make another piece. I'll do that between now and when we film next weekend. I'll make another piece and get caught up. I'm going to mark this right now as no good. This one we'll keep, and we'll pick it up from there.
Dave said to let him take it to the miter saw. He'll take care of it.
Yeah, he would. All right. We got to do our draw. Hope everybody has had an opportunity to get their name in if you want to be considered for it. How many do we have? Do you have any idea?
254.
That's a good number.
Plug
We'll give you 2
Hey.
minutes in case you haven't done it. Oh yeah.
It's Friday.
Next Friday?
It's the release date.
Hard fast?
Pete
Mm-hmm.
says you've been watching me saw.
Yeah. No. No, I'm not that good yet, Pete. All right. So if you've been waiting, what was I going to tell first? Oh, the screws. So, Frick, you probably can't do it. Can you give me a couple bags of the screws?
Oh, what?
Just a bag of screws there.
The new screws, just a couple of
Any
bags
size,
sizes.
any bag.
So if you've been waiting for the video, oh, I feel so embarrassed how many times I said we were going to release it. This is the new video on building the bench. It's 4.5 hours long. It includes a cut list. It includes plans. You can buy separately 3D plans that will work through SketchUp if you like that type of thing. It's 2 discs. 3 discs.
Plus a data disc.
3 discs plus a data disc.
No, two
Oh, two.
video discs and 1 data disc.
2 discs plus a data disc. And it's all the information you need on building. Now, something else I want to talk about. So I came up with this epiphany recently. Thank you. We bring these guys. You heard Jeff, and it changes. We have more than 50% of the guys that come to our workshop go away better, and it's awesome. And we have no idea how it happens. We just keep doing it, and we're committed to doing it as long as we're alive. But I just thought about it the other day. I said, we get them all excited. They come here. We work from 8 in the morning until 11 at night. We send them home with all these tools. They've learned to cut dovetails. They're learning to cut mortise and tenon. They've figured out a hand plane, how to sharpen. Then they go home and they have to try to do this on the end of a kitchen table. And I thought, oh my goodness, how many people were frustrating. So I said, we have got to figure out a way to provide these guys all with a bench. And so we're putting together what we call a bench brigade. I need 36 people who will commit once a year to building a bench and shipping it to the vet that we tell them. We, Purple Heart Project, will supply you with the vise and the bench dogs. You get the materials, you build it, you ship it, and it's the exact bench that we use out there in our classroom, just in case you are unfamiliar. Actually, here, let me just wheel this down while we're talking. This is the one that Luther and I built in the video that we're just about to release. It can be done. It can be done in 2 days, a weekend if you work Sundays. Whoa. Okay, how about if we just look at it from there? It's just about to fall off. It would hurt the floor. Nice, big, heavy bench, 3-inch thick MDF top. The base out of plywood's fantastic. Fantastic bench. So if you're interested, if you think you want to participate in something like this, and we'll have you ship yours to someone close by. You may even be able to be close enough that you can drive it to them. I've had numerous. I'll bet you we are at 12 to 15 volunteers already. We're also looking for people to spearhead it. I think what we'll do is we'll break it into 6 groups. So we'll have who's in charge of a brigade?
Well, when I was in.
And we don't know this stuff. Somebody tell me real quick, but we'll have some person, he'll be in charge of the 6 volunteers to organize it. I can't take any more on my plate or else I'm going to get in trouble. Luther's probably already freaking out right now because we're doing this, but we have to. We have to get these guys a bench. Anyway, if you're interested in that, please email me, Robb at RobCosman.com, and we'll eventually get this started.
PJ's on too.
Pardon? PJ is?
Yeah.
Awesome. PJ, dude,
San Diego.
make sure you give us an update. PJ came to our last class. 4 or 5 months before that, he got shot. He was fighting some ISIS guys over in Iraq. Got hit, one in the leg, broke both bones, another one in the hip, another one went through the calf, another one in his fingers. And then he shows up here in the class. Incredible. The other thing we have is our screws are now, went on sale last night. And these are those
100 per bag.
Yeah, they're 100 per bag. I've answered that question 1,000 times. And if you don't, and blame Chloe, because she's the one, she and Bo and Mitch have been packaging them for the last 4 days. Anyway, they're the best. And we also have the drivers so that you can have an actual true Robertson driver. Anything else to tell you? So we're going to continue to release a YouTube a day to keep you entertained. We're going to do one of these. We're going to try to do one every Saturday night. This is your date night. Next week we'll finish this off, and then I don't know what we'll do in the next one, but we'll come up with an idea between now and then, and we're always open to suggestions. Everyone, I hope, has put your name in for the draw. Let's do it. And what was our total for our donations for Purple Heart Project tonight?
I didn't see them.
Megan, do you know?
Oh, I thought, last I checked, it was at 2,300.
All right, we're ready.
Oh, I don't know.
And the winner of the gorgeous tenon saw is
Medium tenon.
medium tenon, Chris Abbott.
That name sounds from, I was thinking Bob. Chris. Where's Chris from? Is Bobbert on tonight? Did anybody notice him?
No, I haven't noticed him.
No, he wasn't.
He is from Ontario, Canada.
Oh, really? Wow. Canadian.
Yep.
Awesome, Chris. We'll get it in the mail to you on Monday. Enjoy it. Okay, folks, thank you for attending. We thank you, Megan. Thank you, Jake. Thank you,
What's your name?
Frick. Thank you, Luther. Thank you, Ken. Jeff. I'm old. Thank you, Jeff. Really appreciate it. We're calling somebody else next week, and this will be fantastic. All right, you guys have a good week. Relax. Relax. Take care of the people that you love. Be kind to everybody. Be nice. Do things nice. And please do me a favor. Tell everyone you know about the Purple Heart Project so that sooner or later we'll find that one guy through a friend or a family member who's been hiding out in his house, that's suffering from all these things Jeff told you about, and we can bring him here and possibly turn his life around. Hey, we're not miracle workers, but whatever we do, seems to work miracles in people's lives. So, as I said, we're just going to keep on doing it. Have a good week. We'll see you next Saturday.